PTT fam, Promote the Truth family. I got a special message for you. It revolves around discipleship. How important is discipleship? Learning the accurate ways of YAHUAH. Now, we put together a very special Telegram group for Promote the Truth. You can go to pttgram.com. You can download the app from there, or you can go to your Android or Apple iPhone and look up Telegram in your app store. Download the app and then go over to looking for Promote the Truth channel and get in there. Why? Because now it's really turning into a discipleship group to where we can teach folks the ways of YAHUAH. Now, let's talk about criteria, qualifications. Why are we at Promote the Truth qualified to be able to provide discipleship training? Because of the background. You know, we've got over 30 years of experience, starting from me, which founded Promote the Truth, all the way back in 2007 is when I started Promote the Truth. But my truth journey started back in 1992 when I was playing professional baseball. After winning my second minor league stolen base championship, being set to go to the major leagues the next year in 1993, I decided to do, guess what? Resign, retire, stop. Everybody freaked out in my hometown in Kentucky, and then where I had moved in my hometown in Florida with my dad. Everybody. I was in the newspapers all the time. So most people really don't understand the price that's been paid to get to this point. We've got a lot of folks that comment, a lot of folks that send messages to us that Promote the Truth. And we always respond with the utmost respect, with the utmost honor and humility. Why? Because we understand it's a wisdom trait that we've learned over the years. And we have empathy for folks that are learning the way. But the qualifications, the criteria to be able to speak this message is almost unparalleled, because I walked away personally from a multi-million-dollar contract opportunity when I decided to walk away at that time from professional sports. And let me tell you what I did in 1992. I became an ordained Baptist minister. Most people don't know that. I can remember going to my grandfather and I said, "Granddaddy, I want to go preach." He said, "What?" You know, he's a country boy from the South, old school. And he says, "What are you talking about? You're a professional baseball player." I said, "No, I think I'm called to go preach." And he said, "What are you talking about, son? I don't understand." I said, "I got to really find out why I am here, because I've got questions. I got so many things coming to my brain." He goes, "But you're getting ready to go to the major leagues. You want to do this now?" I said, "Yeah, I want to do it now. I want to find out why I'm here." So he took me, because he was a deacon at the Baptist church. So he took me to meet up with the pastor. And then the pastor took me through a council of Southern Baptist pastors. So those of you that understand how this works, it's a gauntlet drill, right? So I had the Southern Baptist pastors panel, and then they did my ordination process. And I had to go through an ordination to be able to get to where I was an ordained Baptist minister. Had to do a big sermon in front of a packed out crowd. The church was packed. It was full. People were out the door. And when I got done, everybody was clapping and they were so excited, and they went ahead and affirmed me. But as I began to ask more and more questions, as I began to test the scriptures, as I began to test everything which the scriptures tells us to do, I couldn't get the answers. And I became frustrated. And you know what I did? I walked away. I resigned as a Baptist minister. I got so frustrated with what I was not being told, that I decided to join the Seventh-day Adventist church. And guess what? They were so happy to receive me. They put me in their magazine, number one, because I was an ex-professional athlete and I was one of the hottest athletes in the country at that time in 1992. And they took me on and down to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and to where one of their universities was. Now, most people don't know that Little Debbie cakes, if you ever eat a Little Debbie cake, that's owned by the Seventh-day Adventists. And they took me to their facilities. They offered me a job, a full scholarship to their schools to become a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist movement or religion. And I went all in, and I was about to go to school there, but I kept asking them questions and more questions. And I'm going to tell you something. They have more of the truth than I have found in the Baptist faith growing up since a child. The Seventh-day Adventists happen to have more of the truth. But guess what? They didn't have all the truth, because as I was testing the scriptures, I was getting more and more frustrated because they would not answer those core questions. I saw scriptures like many of you see, and a lot of people turn a blind eye to it. You see that there's scriptures that are provided to us today that contradict each other. I saw it, and I was asking them about it. How can this say this here and say this here? Is that a contradiction? And they would always come up with an excuse, but not an answer. And so I got frustrated, and I walked away from the Seventh-day Adventist church and religion. And I literally told God, the creator at that time. I didn't know. I just knew about God. I had no idea about the name Yahuwah in 1992, 1993, as I went into at that time. I said, leave me alone. I told the creator of all, I was speaking out, leave me alone. This is a sham down here on earth. All these people are just trying to use this for profit, to make money off of you. They're not really concerned with the truth. I'm going back to play professional sports. I called my agent and said, look, get me hooked up. And I went back and played a couple more years until I got injured in 1995 when I signed my major league contract with the Seattle Mariners at that time. But I had a tugging and a pulling on my heart. That's why discipleship is so important. This is why what I'm telling you is so important in regards to being a part of our Telegram group, because you're going to get the raw. You're going to get people that's been through things, not people that are just coming up with an opinion, but someone like me. And it's not just me. I'm like the voice. I'm the founder, Promote the Truth, but there's many of us behind this movement. But because of the price I paid and because of the learning I went through, I just happen to be the voice. But you should be a part of our Telegram group, because you're going to get more of this raw talk. So we pump out videos on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Clapper, on TikTok. We pump out all kinds of video content, but you got to create it, edit it, pump it out. Well, in Telegram, we just are pumping out discipleship material, and it's less than a week and it's already revolutionary. So go to pttgram.com and join. Now back to why I'm saying the discipleship is so critical and why we are qualified to provide you with that discipleship. Now you got a lot of years. When I told God to leave me alone, he wouldn't leave me alone. I feel like YAHUAH or Jonah. That's who I feel like. I try to run. Leave me alone. Isn't that what YAHUAH said? Jonah said, leave me alone. Go down in the bottom of the ship. Go to sleep. I try to do that. I just try to leave me. I don't want to think about nothing. But YAHUAH, I didn't know he was YAHUAH at the time. He wouldn't leave me. He kept tapping on my heart. And then in 2004, look at that progression. It took me a while to get back in the flow. I was studying off and on. I keep going over and grabbing my scriptures and look at stuff, and put it back down. Look at it, put it back down. And then in 2004, he just knocked me in the heart. And I said, I tell you what, I'm going to give it everything I got this time. But I don't want no outside influences. I don't want no organized religion. I don't need any pastor to tell me anything. I'm going to pick these scriptures up. I'm going to dig through them, and I'm going to start reading important things, starting with the preface, which hardly any of you that are listening to me have done. You haven't really studied the prefaces in these Bibles or scriptures that you're reading to come to the conclusions that they're presenting to you. And from 2004 all the way to the end of 2007, December 2007 is when I started going into big time mode. And I studied 6 to 10 hours a day for 3 to 3.5 years. 6 hours minimum every day. I became an etymologist. You know what that is? That's the study of the origins of words. It's not some weird religion. It's scientific. I started studying how did words come to be. English is the newest language that I found in the world. It's one of the newest languages in the world. So as we are speaking English language, even though we might feel like it's the best ever, it's derived from other languages. So you go back and you find out these words that I'm speaking, what do they mean? And here's what I found. There's many, many words that have been designated by the darkest soul ever, Shaitan, Satan, to deceive us. Hazun, Revelation 12:9 says that he was cast to the earth and he goes about and deceives the entire world. Are you part of entire? Am I part of entire? You see, that's the first step, I believe, in people learning discipleship is humility. You have to accept the fact that it is highly probable that you were deceived. I had to accept that fact. Once I accepted that I was deceived, then now I'm humble enough. YAHUAH says, I resist the proud. He even says, I hate the proud, but I give grace to the humble. We must approach him as a child and be very humble in order to get wisdom. So once I humbled myself, everything changed. I was digging for 3+ years, 6 to 10 hours a day. And I got to May 2007. And I found YAHUAH. And it changed me forever. So that means I and Promote the Truth, when we founded it around that time, has been running with YAHUAH for over 16 years. We're approaching 17 years at the time of this recording. When I called on the name of YAHUAH, I know he came in me. I know that I have studied to show myself approved. I know that I went after him with everything in my spirit. I was willing to give up fortune, fame that hardly anybody can comprehend. Being in newspapers all the time, having people track you all the time. And say, nope, I don't want that. I want to know why I'm here. I want happiness. I want to be fulfilled. I don't want to be born and then die and not fulfill my purpose. That was my standpoint. And that's what everybody that's involved with Promote the Truth, that's what they believe in. They have real hearts for YAHUAH. It's not just me. It's a bunch of us. And so discipleship is important. And you got to make that decision today. Are you going to put that work in? Are you going to put that humility in first? Because there's a lot of people out there with messages. Let me tell you what most of these messages are from. And listen, I'm saying this in love. I don't hate on people. I love on people. You will never catch me attacking anybody. You will never catch me or anybody Promote the Truth going onto somebody's channel commenting on something and like talking negative towards them. We always approach people in a spirit of love. So when people give us feedback, and then sometimes people are a little hostile, we know that's not from Yahuwah. It's not the way he operates. As a matter of fact, it's a very weak point to approach somebody from a hostile standpoint. And people try to use scripture saying it's used for correcting, rebuking, but not until you go to your brother or sister first. You can't go correct and rebuke somebody without having gone to them first in private. You can't go to them publicly and try to smash somebody. You got to be willing to reach out to somebody if you got an issue with your brother or sister or anybody. So I wanted to make that point because I think it's important in discipleship. When you get all this knowledge that Yahuwah has for you, and you humble yourself, and you call on his name, and his spirit enters you, you're going to be given a wisdom that always is going to be grounded in a spirit of love and humility. A soft answer turns away wrath, right? And I'm telling you this because I've had to be disciplined like you can't even believe. I'm telling y'all, fam, listen to me. You don't want to go through the discipline I've been through. When I ran like Jonah, you don't want to go through that. When Yahuwah's calling you, then you go ahead and accept it. Then you guard his commandments. You uphold his name. If you don't, he's going to be one or two ways. You're going to run to him with all you got. Even if you got a little strength, you're going to hold on, or you're going to commit suicide. Most people that commit suicide is because they've tried to figure this world out, and this world doesn't make any sense. Y'all know it, and I know it. Like, people gravitate more towards darkness than light in this world. That doesn't make any sense, but it is the way it is in this world. So you got to hold on to Yahuwah, at least his name, with all you got, and he'll give you the rest. Discipleship is critical. It's critical. Now, I got a passage I want to share with you as I'm wrapping this up. And I want you to be a part of pttgram.com, or go download the app Telegram, search Promote the Truth channel. But look what Yahushua says. When he was on this earth, he's not here anymore, by the way. He is Yahuwah. He was the Word. The Word became flesh. The Word was with Yahuwah, and the Word was Yahuwah, Eluah. Yohanan 1:1, John 1:1 tells us who he is. And people argue with that. And I'm going to help people understand why they're arguing with it here in a second. Some people. Those that hear his voice, they don't argue with that. Matit Yahu 9:35. Matthew, Matit Yahu 9:35 through 38. I'm going to read. It's a few verses here. 4 verses. And Yahushua went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their congregations and proclaiming the good news of the reign of Yahuwah, and healing every disease and every bodily weakness among the people. And having seen the crowds, he was moved with them. He was moved with compassion for them, because they were weary and scattered like we are today. We are weary as a people and scattered, as sheep having no shepherd, as it is today. Then he said to his taught ones, the disciples that were with him, quote, "The harvest is truly great, plentiful, but the workers are few. Pray then that the master of the harvest would send out workers to his harvest." Pray then to the master. Who's the master? Yahuwah. Pray that he would send workers. You see, the world is hungry for the truth, but the workers of the truth are few. Most workers who think that they are workers are literally full of pride. They act as if the translations they've been handed down, which are foundationally built in lies, they act as if they've got the ability to teach. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Greek mythology. Everybody knows that Greek mythology is rampant. Look at Hollywood. Look at the movies. Thor, right? Zeus. Look at all these movies that are coming out about Greek mythological, quote, gods. The world's enamored by Greek mythology. Now, Josephus said, the great philosopher, he said that the taught ones, the disciples, would rather eat pork, which we know is forbidden, than to speak or write Greek. Yet for some reason, people have given so much credence to Greek writings of the Brit Hadash. The Brit Hadash sign name, AKA New Testament. The Brit Hadash can never, ever, never, ever trump the foundations of the Tanakh, sign name Old Testament, ever. The Brit Hadash has got to come into agreement with the Tanakh in order for the Brit Hadash to have credibility. Because YAHUAH said things in the Tanakh through the prophets and himself personally that you cannot reverse. And if you hear it said different, then you have to have the discipline disciple. That's why you need discipleship, because it'll bring you into a discipline. You've got to have the discipline that if you hear something different, to go, oh, wait a minute. That does not come into alignment. So almost everyone, excuse me, I'm popping my microphone here. Almost every one of the Greek text, hundreds if not thousands of them, they don't agree with each other. None of them are agreeing with the other one. But of the Aramaic, Aramite, or the Abari Hebrew text, they all agree with each other with some very slight variations. Now, is that a sign, a clue, or what? And people are still debating that. So if I've got a bunch of text written from one area to the next, and they all are agreeing with each other, and then I got another form that none of them agree with each other, but then I've got organized religion giving credence to the ones that don't agree with each other, which should I believe? If the disciples, the taught ones, if Kappa did not speak Greek, did not write Greek, and we have no recording that he did it, and he's the most outspoken of the disciples, if we don't have a record of him writing Greek, speaking in Greek, why would we think he would then leave us his epistle, his writings in Greek? We can't come to that conclusion. So what I want to tell you, the reason I'm making this such a valid point, it's valid. Why? Because the people that resist the teachings of YAHUAH, when they come to YAHUAH, we got people that are calling on YAHUAH, then resist his power, acting as if there's someone higher than him, acting as if his name is not the name above all names. You see, Yahusha, his name is not above YAHUAH's name. There's only one name that's above all names, only one. And if you look at the Aramite and the Hebrew text, you will notice they recognize that Yahusha became on earth while he was here, YAHUAH in the flesh. They recognize it. They say that at his name, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Yahusha HaMashiach, the Messiah, is master. You know what master means? It's the Most High. That's who he is. He's the Most High. Anyone that has seen me has seen the Father. That's what he said. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 9:6. What does it say? A son will be given to you, and he will be called the Eternal Father. It's hard to grip that as a human, especially if we get some Greek text that try to get us to separate the two. When he's telling us and telling you he's one. So that's a discipline to come into that. It requires training. Anybody tells you anything different is untaught, unlearned. All who call on the name of Yahuwah shall be saved. Point blank, period. It's that simple. Now, who is Yahuwah? You got to just go look. Yahusha showed us who Yahuwah is. When he looked at Philip, when he talked to Thomas, and he told them, from now on, you do know the Father and have seen him. That's what he said. He said that they saw the Father when they were asking him to show them the Father. But guess what? That plain text, people turned away from. You can prove it from the Greek. Now, we're going to teach you to promote the truth. If you're going to give any credence to the Greek, we will teach you. You will deal with majuscule, not minuscule. If you don't understand what that means you got to humble yourself. You got to go, okay, I need to learn. You got to understand, you got to deal with the uncial, right? You got to deal with the minority text, not the majority. If you don't understand what that means, you got to just humble yourself. Okay, I don't know that yet. I can learn that. So I want you to come into a great discipleship. It's your choice. Y'all know we're going to show you love no matter what. You know, we're not going to be arguing with people. We're not going to. You'll never see us going back and forth on social media with people. Never. We don't get along. We just say, folks, hey, wish you the best. You go your way. We go our way. We're very, very, very disciplined in our mission. We know not everybody's going to hear his voice. We have a deep understanding of who he is, what he wants taught, and we're following that in the most humble spirit possible. We're not looking for anybody to praise us, not me, not anybody on the staff. What we're looking for is for people to carry out the mission that Yahusha, when he walked on the earth, came to give us. And now he's been given the name above all names. And there's only one name that's above all names, and that's Yahuwah. And that's a decision. And hopefully you will allow yourself to be disciplined into understanding that, and we'll help you with that. And we've designated our Telegram group to do that on a day-to-day basis. We're dropping content already. In less than a week at the time of this recording, we've already dropped some of the most strongest powerhouse discipleship training ever. Like, we get a lot of messages in, and what we'll do is we'll answer those messages, and then we'll copy them and we'll paste them and put them in that group now. And so you'll learn how to respond to folks. A lot of people don't know how to talk to their mom, their dad, their sisters, their brothers, their uncles, their cousins, their friends. They don't know how to witness to people. If you watch us answer, which we do on a day-to-day basis, and you do that for a year, watch who you become next year. If you decide to humble yourself and come into discipleship, watch who you'll become the next year. So you don't feel any weakness when I'm talking to you. You want to know why? I done paid too much of a price. I done paid what hardly anybody's willing to pay. That's just a fact. You throw fortune, fame, millions of dollars in front of people's face. If we're honest with each other, people are going to grab that. I chose not to multiple times. I've turned away a lot of money to go after the truth. And Yahusha said, we're going to receive persecutions, which I received like you wouldn't believe. But he also said, I'm going to give you 100-fold in this lifetime as well as the life to come, which I've received. And he said, I'll prepare a table, banquet. Most people think it says table. The correct translation is in Talim, Psalms 23, he'll prepare a banquet in the midst of our enemies. Participate with us in the banquet. Go through your trials and tribulations. Consider it pure joy, knowing that the trying of your faith is bringing you to completeness. It's all right. And get in here with those of us that do this on a day-to-day basis, that can teach you how to walk in the ways of Yahuwah. Do we have all the answers? No. But are we solid on all the foundational principles? Absolutely. There's only 4 core salvational points, and we'll teach you those so you won't get distracted and lose your joy. This world's full of distractions, and Satan is pulling strings like you wouldn't believe. We've identified the strings, and we'll help you avoid all the distractions and stay on that course so you don't lose your crown. Go ahead and tap in with us at pttgraham.com, or just go in and download the Telegram app, look up Promote the Truth channel so you can get that day-to-day discipleship. Hopefully you've appreciated this message. I haven't done one like this where I'm just sitting down just talking to you as fam and just raw. I usually got messages that Yahuwah's given me, I feel in my spirit to talk about. But this one's just like, look, people need discipleship. And I want to talk to you as my family, as your brother. I'm your brother. And I got love for you that surpasses all understanding. And I'll end with this. There is no love greater than someone that will lay down their life for a friend. It's obvious that I would lay down my life for my wife, my child, my family. It's obvious. But the greatest love is if I lay down my life for you, a friend. I'm willing to do that, my friends. But you got to be a friend that's in Yahuwah. I love you. I appreciate you. Promote the truth. Got your back. Check us out over in Telegram, and we'll continue to grow together. Much love. Peace.